Hi everybody, welcome to the Eco-Friendly Banter. This video is going to be about the analogies which Rinpoche shared when it comes to reading a particular text, a Dharma text or a teaching. And again, I think that we can apply this not only to reading the text, but also to reading people, reading situations in our lives. So he says that when you read a text, you should start as a turtle and then reach a stage of being a tiger, and then you should be able to read it like an eagle. What he means is that you read a text slowly and steadily first. You don't try to project whatever you know on it and let it speak to yourself. Then you reach this stage of being a tigress or a tiger, where even without reading every single line, you know what each section of the text is talking about. And at the end, when you have mastered the text, so to speak, you know what the text is talking about even without going through the pages. Even when you skim through the book, you know the entire teaching. But when I reflected on it, I realized that being a turtle not just means being slow in reading it, or reading it constantly over and over again very slowly. No, it means taking your limbs inward. Yeah, just as a turtle might, it is all about taking your senses inward. It is all about shutting your mouth up and shutting your mind up also, and kind of asking your brain to just read and not project, not try to understand, not try to connect the dots as yet, because you're very new to the text, you're very new to the teaching. Okay. And even while listening to the teachings, by the way, don't try to understand it immediately, because there is a high chance that you will miss the point, right? Because you are already looking at it from the lenses that you have been wearing since years or maybe lifetimes. And then comes the tigress. Tigers and tigresses, of course, they are very intuitive, very meticulous in the way they hunt their prey. And I think here he means that the context, or the reason why things have been said the way they've been said, they start coming up by themselves. For example, if you're reading a text and you start reading history of a master, then you'll know why this master said this particular thing at a particular time, right? Even in astrology or even in sadhana or any kind of practice, spiritual practice, there's this concept of desh kal patra, right? Which means according to the times, the sadhana also changes. The teaching also has to kind of reform itself. Truth remains the same, the base remains the same, but the formulation or the way that it is delivered kind of changes. So here it means that the moment you look at a section of a text, you are able to understand the context, which might or might not be applicable to the present times. So you will be able to understand that teaching and apply it to the present times with your discernment. That is what I believe being a tigress means. Then we come to the eagle, which means you just know it. You can connect the dots, you can apply that teaching to every single thing in your life, where you are able to see that teaching speak from the walls, from the trees, from the leaves. It's everywhere. From I'm talking about a true teaching, not the one that creates ego or attachment and things like that. No, not the material desires. True teaching, which takes you closer to your own self. So now, when we apply all of this to our relationships, you'll be able to kind of understand it better with this example. When, let's say, you meet someone, right, and you don't know anything about them, but you've met people, let's say, same kind of bosses, same kind of colleagues, same kind of partners in your love and relationship or whatever. The idea here is to take all those projections inward, take all those senses inward, and kind of observe them, to know them as they are, to not try to understand them in your first meeting, because you'll be able to only project and not understand. Right? You will be thinking this person does something because this. Just shut up. You don't know that. You don't know their history. You don't know why they behave the way they do. Just try to observe first why they behave the way they do, why they get angry at certain things, why they cry at certain things, or at least be observant of what they do, so that you are able to work on that relationship. If you're really interested, why are they getting triggered at certain things? And then once you know them properly, when you know that certain things trigger them or whatever, you will be able to cultivate environments or situations in which there's a win-win for both of you. You'll know their patterns, and if you want to say something to them but you know that they will be hurt because of it, then you'll kind of modify that talk, or kind of speak that same thing in a different way which will not hurt them, right? I had this very fiery tongue for a long, long time, where I would not think of the other person, where I would just not think if it will hurt them. I'll speak absolute bullshit, even if it was true, even if it was the right thing to say. But the tone and the way that I would say it will not be right. Even my writing had become very, very crass. So it was very Queen of Swords kind of energy, and I had to add cups into it, emotions into it, and kind of empathy into it, and realize that not everybody is ready to listen to the truth, maybe in the way that I want to say it. And once you know those patterns, you become the tiger, right? You know that a person will react in a certain way. The knowledge of all this will come with observation. And at the end, it's all about knowing their past, present, together, knowing their patterns, knowing their childhood, maybe knowing which trauma is speaking, where they're responding and not just reacting, or where it's vice versa. And I think that will also help in making our relationships a bit better. I hope I made sense. And even if I didn't, I really made sense to myself, to be very honest. And I hope this helps at least somebody. And then just let me know. Thank you.